Hello everyone, Ryan here. So I recently saw Goosebumps TV episodes of Say Cheese and Die and Say Cheese and Die Again. And of course these are adapted from the books of the same titles. I was actually kind of surprised that, in the first one, Say Cheese and Die, Ryan Gosling stars as the main character, Greg. I had forgotten about that. Because I remember, like, some time ago, I remember reading about that somewhere, that Ryan Gosling starred in an episode of Goosebumps. And I don't know if this was, like, his first big part, or kind of big part. But yeah, I mean, he looked like he was, like, maybe no more than 13 or 14. But then, I don't know, he could have been, like, 17 for all I know. So I mean, Say Cheese and Die, it's about this main character, Greg Banks, and him and his friends Doug and Sherry, they decide to sneak into the old Kaufman house, and then while they're exploring, they find this, like, hidden cabinet, and then there's a large old camera inside. And they start messing around with the camera. They take pictures of each other and different things. And later they realize that the camera, like, predicts the future. Or rather, I guess, more accurately, it manipulates the future so that negative things happen in the future. But more like the immediate future, like, not just a couple years later, but could be like a couple seconds later, or a couple minutes later, or a couple hours later. So, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of what Say Cheese and Die is about. Although, I guess, to be fair, the actual novel, the book has a little more detail than that. I mean, it's been a while since I read the book, Say Cheese and Die. So, but I remember it being pretty interesting, because, at least for me at the time in the 90s, I hadn't come across any other story like it. So, I mean, kudos to R.L. Stine for kind of being ahead of his time a little bit. I mean, I don't know, he could have ripped it off from, like, some other lesser known horror writer, so yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And then the second episode, Say Cheese and Die Again, it's a continuation. It's with the same character, Greg. It's supposed to be like a year later, and he's trying to convince his teacher, his English teacher, that he actually did find this camera that predicts the future and all that, and causes bad things to happen. Of course, his teacher doesn't believe him, so he tries to prove it. He finds the camera again. More bad stuff happens. So, I mean, except, of course, Ryan Reynolds, he's not in the second episode. He's not in Say Cheese and Die Again, so I don't know, maybe at that point he had moved on to other things, bigger and better things. I don't know. So, I mean, the kid that plays Greg in Say Cheese and Die Again, he's a different kid. I don't know who he is. Very unknown kid. And that's something I noticed about a lot of the kids that were in these episodes of Goosebumps. Pretty much, I mean, a lot of them, most of them, didn't really go on to, act in anything else. And also, too, like, it seemed like a large percentage of them were also Canadian. I don't know why that was. I don't know if it was, at least at that time, if it was cheaper to use Canadian kid actors, or I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm just guessing. So, I mean, overall, I guess I'd say I'll give each episode like, I'd say like 3 out of 5 at the most. But then if you combine both episodes into one long episode, it makes for like a decent short movie, I guess. So in that case, it could easily be like a 4 out of 5. So, yeah. Or 3.5 out of 5. So yeah, I mean, they're decent episodes. I would say there's kind of a decent amount of action in them. Not really. When it comes to these, like, I mean, compared to other episodes of the Goosebumps TV show, these don't really have that much action in them. It's more like just weird stuff that happens and somewhat creepy stuff, but there's nothing really surprising. I mean, I feel so. So, yeah, that pretty much does it for my review of Goosebumps Say Cheese and Die and Say Cheese and Die Again, the TV episode. So, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, until next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking in. Peace.